like welcome to the induction training, by the way. This is something that I've never really done before, but that we've just seen so much value that mentors and mentees get in the startup ecosystem, and we know that we have so many startups like yourselves coming through with an idea that have no idea how to get anywhere, and trying to bring back in people that have gone through that journey before. You've learned some things, you've understood the tricks, you know what to do, you understand the value of everything, and just bringing that back experience back to someone else and helping them through the process is really what this is all about. So I've got an agenda here, which is basically just like intros, why mentoring is important, role of a mentor, why mentor a startup, how it works, how we'll support you, our expectations, and basically what to do next. Um, so first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for offering your time as part of this. I know that like running your own startup and having a job typically takes a lot of time, and adding in and doing mentoring for other founders as well can take time. It's generally not too much time, but it can. So I just wanted to be very appreciative and upfront about that. I was going to ask everyone to do a intro roundtable, and I wonder, since we have only a couple of people on here, this might actually be a really good idea. Do you go, well, actually, I'll start, and then maybe we just go Michael, Dan, and then Chuck. So essentially, you probably see my face around, but I'm the founder of Hyper and also Apollo. We created Apollo as we believe the missing part of the Accelerate program. It's all well and good to make you and your idea to the point where you can confidently pitch with founders, but there's still that ecosystem, there's that support, and there's access to all the other founders are going through the program. You learn so much from that, and really for us, we see the two being hand in hand, and I'm just really excited to share Apollo with you guys. All right, go for it, Michael.
Sorry, Sash. Yeah, my name's Michael, founder of My Time. My Time's a social competitions platform. We see a real opportunity in the competition space to create competitive social competitions where people can place up, or businesses can place up challenges for consumers and content creators for great prizes. And so we've created that platform, and we're having lots of good discussions here in Sydney. And yeah, I'm super super interested in the startup community. As I said earlier to Sash, I get so excited by it. So anything that I can do to contribute to it with my background is exciting.
Amazing, thanks, mate. And Michael's also got his product live as well. It's been live for a while, so there's a lot
Yeah,
of that end-to-end experience he's got there too.
yeah. Sorry.
Go for it, Dan.
Awesome. I'm Dan Jacobs. I'm the founder of Buy Bill. Our goal is to be the premier platform through which the world's organizations do business. So I'm new to the startup world as well. It's my first startup. So I've really enjoyed and loved the sort of hyper program. I remember my first pitch night I came to, and someone was asking me about sort of seed funding and stuff or Series A. I didn't have a clue what they were talking about. So I started on from that point to this point, and understand a lot more, and hopefully can offer something to new founders coming in.
Yeah, amazing. Thanks, Dan. And Chuck.
Hello guys. So my name is Chuck. I'm the founder of My Hero. Like My Hero, it was originally actually started as a platform that allows children in hospital to connect with different celebrities and figures, just to give them just a moment of debrief while they're admitted in hospital. But currently at the moment, we're looking obviously into moving on into community engagement and working with different communities and charity, and using that obviously to as a platform that's going to help to facilitate and social issues and within the younger group and younger demographics in the society. So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, mate. Welcome. Does anyone have any mentoring experience? Has anyone been mentored or has a mentee at all?
Yeah.
Which side of that have you? Yeah.
So
amazing.
oh, sorry.
No, you go.
Yeah. So my background obviously is in healthcare. So I'm originally a nurse. So we do a lot of mentoring for nursing students, medical students coming through to the hospital, just in terms of giving them real life practical experience of looking after patients and other different stuff that goes on into hospital on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, amazing. Cool. And how's everyone else placed?
Yeah, I do it for a living as a side gig, Sash. So I mentor middle management, senior management, all the way through to CEO level on running businesses, everything from personal development to sales, operations, all of that sort of good stuff. So yeah, I do a reasonable amount of it.
Yeah, amazing. And Dan?
Yes, I work in engineering. I'm an electrical engineer by training, and we've got quite a lot of graduate programs. We get new graduates coming through. So it's a lot of my experience has been with sort of younger generation, new people coming through, particularly trying to appeal to more women in engineering. So my current mentees are all young women starting their careers in engineering.
Amazing. Guys, this is gonna be the quickest presentation ever. Like everyone's already got it. I'm gonna shoot through a bunch of stuff just because I am recording this. I want this to sort of be something that people can refer to. But I will just skip a lot of things because I feel like you guys are really further ahead than I thought you would be. So like props and thank you. All right, so why it's important. So essentially expertise and guidance to solve problems faster. This is obviously from the perspective of a mentee. They get network and connections, and you can open up new opportunities for them. When you're fresh, it's hard to know who to talk to, but since you've been there, you can make recommendations easier. You have objectivity to help make informed decisions. So some people focus on things that don't necessarily matter. Like we've seen founders be so focused on the valuation for their business rather than talk to people, but you can provide that objectivity of what is actually important. Support and motivation to stay focused on what matters as well. So if people feel lost, just helping them figure out what's next, and then helping them develop professionally and accelerate their learning through shared experiences. Most of the time, you're actually a really good representation of the founders that work with Hyper. Typically, they're anywhere from like 30 to 50, already have a career, already well established in an industry. We typically don't work with a lot of like people out of uni or like 20-something-year-olds. So everyone that you're going to be communicating with will typically have their own professional network that they can tap into, and then you can obviously tap into that as well. So the role of a mentor, I've got a couple of different sections here. So the first one's to provide guidance and advice. Essentially, founders have no idea what to expect with starting a business, as you guys know when you first started. And having been through the program, you know exactly what's important and what isn't. You can potentially help explain the startup journey and specifically that program as well, like what we're doing and when, why it's important and why we ask people to do things. It really helps to have that third person perspective there. How to raise your first round of capital and get to that next stage. If you guys have gone through that stage already, you know how potentially many emails there are that you need to send out or connections or how to manage that process and everything else. How to get government grants, how they work, and lodging an SEIS application. That's mainly a UK thing. You guys in the UK will know about SEIS, but founders that don't register for that can really fall out when it comes to trying to raise money for investors and what that process looks like and that type of thing. And then also learnings from your own startup that you can share and stories from there. The acting as a sounding board, so giving experience, using your experience to give context and answering questions. Sometimes people have questions that are so simple for us. Like I hear the same question all the time, and I'm so happy to answer it. But sometimes it just really helps to give context to why it is the way that it is. Like, what is the value of sharing your idea? People start off very cagey, but obviously you know the answer to that. And you give your experience to like why it actually worked for you. Providing objective feedback on their product or partners or investment or a way to do certain things, and then pitch practicing as well. We're actually doing pitch practicing on Apollo as well. I have Tom who's doing it. I think it's this week or very early next year, but just starting to do pitch practice with founders so that we can give objective feedback. We can say whether it was too long, too short, think about their deck, what they're missing, and all that sort of stuff. And you guys have been through that process as well, so you can give feedback there too. Connecting mentees with resources and networks, the professional introduction for your own network and vice versa. Being able to share resources that have helped you, whether that be something like a list of investors that's in the founder knowledge base or like a no-code bit of software that really helped you get somewhere, like that sort of stuff and exposure to that is so important for new stage founders. Advice on the best products and services to use, like whether or not you need an accounting firm or a legal firm or something like that, someone that does it reasonably cheap and good, all that sort of stuff is gold to them. Otherwise it's Google requests and it can be a bit touch and go from there. Introduction to investors or fundraising opportunities, and then just helping them understand how Apollo works to get the most out of it. We've tried to invest as much as we possibly can into getting everyone from our business into Apollo to offer free insight to everyone. We're getting all of our partners, all of our investors, and all of our mentors in there as well. We've got sections in there that try and help people solve certain problems. And it really is like an amazing way to try and learn about a startup and get the support you need, and just helping people understand what that value is rather than logging in, logging out would really actually help as well. The role of offering encouragement and support. So as you guys know, starting a startup is really hard. It's hard to focus on the next thing sometimes when you're stuck, or sometimes when there's too many problems to try and solve. There's always that place to celebrate small wins together, because the role of a founder can be really isolated and solo, especially if none of your friends can understand what you're doing. Like if you got your first partnership or you talk to an investor and you got good feedback, it means really nothing to friends, but it can offer so much value there when it comes to someone that actually understands. And then just providing encouragement when needed as well. Like if they present something and it's awesome, just saying that's awesome means so much to people. Hey, Malcolm, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Amazing. Just quickly, if you're able to mute your microphone, there'll be a recording of this later, so you'll be able to see everything anyway. But I'll do a quick intro to you at the very end, and then this is a recording you can watch later anyway. Yeah, cool, nice. Cool. Providing constructive feedback. So just spotting any shortcomings or red flags to help them improve. Like I've seen like a billion pitch decks at the moment, and sometimes certain words, certain valuations and massive red flags for me, and I try and help people out. You guys have been through that process. You know what to look for, and just helping them figure out like how they can be perceived better to the people they're communicating to. Feedback on the right approach for validation or cold emailing, or how to create social media content, what worked. Michael's got a huge amount of experience with social. He's worked with Ask Marketing a fair bit to try and establish what he's got on LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook. So there's so much there about like what works, what's a good investment, and what's a really cheap way to get content done. And then providing confidence if they're actually just nailing it. Like sometimes they just need a pat on the back and say, you're doing an amazing job. We talked about at the start, but reasons for mentoring a startup. These are ones that I could find, that I could think of. First one being personal fulfillment. So just giving back to that next generation of founders. I know this is a really big reason why I built Hyper in the first place, and why I mentor founders as well, is just to try and give back, to make sure that I can see people changing the world and supporting them. Others for professional development. So learning from your mentee to grow as a founder. Maybe they've got some experience, or they've got a specialization that you don't know. Maybe you can learn from them too. Staying current about new approaches and tech that you can utilize. The startup industry is growing so quickly. Like whether they have all of a sudden discovered what Zapier is for automations, or a new code product that can build an app instantly, or whatever from there. If you're out of the loop in a year, it's almost like you don't exist. There's so many new things, and founders coming through or discovering it for the first time, it can help you out as well. The networking side, where you can leverage your network as well as theirs. So they may be in a profession or an industry that you could really get a lot of value from, and showing them that you really give a shit about their startup is the best way for them to want to contribute back to your career as well. The credibility of being seen as a mentor is pretty big too. Being able to say in an investment meeting that you have this startup, here's what you've done, but you're also a mentor, and you've also got the support of like myself or Tom or whatever from there. It adds a lot more credibility to you as a person, for them to lower their risk in whatever their conversation they're having with you in. And the last one is just earning equity. And so this could be as simple as a sweat equity vesting structure, and it has to come from that startup. And we're going to be educating the founders that we're recommending to you about how that works. But it could be as simple as they would offer you 5% over 2, 3, 4 years. And then the longer you're with them, the more equity you would acquire through sweat equity. But then if this business is something that's blown up, and because you've contributed to that, you would deserve that equity, then at an exit event, then you can obviously cash out and that type of thing. So there is that possibility as well, and it's the best way to earn credibility through that. Apollo is not a normal place that you've probably seen from a mentorship type system. Like a lot of the mentors that I've heard from you are, it's a professional mentorship network professional mentorship where there would be employees in your building, or there would be people you can get a coffee with. And while that's still true, Apollo is more of an online community than it is a real life or a workplace. And so inevitably, a lot of interactions are going to be online and digital. And so the best way for you to like create that credibility to justify your involvement in their startup is to obviously participate in the induction and complete your Apollo profile. Things like adding a profile image, adding your LinkedIn, adding your photo, writing a bit about your startup. These founders that we're going to be recommending to you are going to vet you because, as you know, when you first started up, you were terrified about sharing your idea, telling someone your idea, telling another founder that you've got this idea, they could easily steal it, all these sort of things that early stage founders are going through and freaking out on. Anything you can do to try and create that credibility to help pass that is going to really help you out. Being able to actively participate in Apollo and provide advice where you can as well. The more they see your name, you'll have a tag called mentor next to your name. So the more interactions that you have, the more justification there is. If people go into your profile, they can see all of your comments and all of your posts as well. So it really sort of helps demonstrate that you are worth the time interacting with and trusting with their idea. We'll be posting opportunities in mentor chat. So basically that chat section, no one has access to it except our mentors. And so when someone agrees to be mentored, we can then post their startup or an idea of their startup there. If you don't see there's any sort of like issues with that, like if you're both working on a similar idea, maybe that's a problem, maybe that's not for you, and vice versa. But we'll be able to post that opportunity there. If you're interested, let me know. I can then do an introduction via email or text or a call or through Apollo itself. And that introduction is really just to try and bridge that trust. Like they don't really know who you are, but they know us and they trust us. So if we say that you are someone that we trust to mentor their startup, they're going to be much more open to it as well. So we can facilitate that for you. And then just being able to direct message them in Apollo, ask them for their WhatsApp or their phone number or their email or whatever. And then just, we don't want to try and get in the way of that. It's however you see the most value for the time that you have. So if you've only got time for like a once a week, like phone call, absolutely fine. You don't have to do that through Apollo. You can do that in whatever means is necessary or easiest for you. And then we'll be doing check-ins for the mentor and the mentees. If you got a question you didn't know, or if they are having trouble understanding the point or something like that, we're trying to mentor both parties so that they can get the most out of it. As part of this as well, we obviously know that we need to support you guys. So we wanted to give you free access to everything in Apollo. We have paid areas. A lot of them are just trying to be restricted because there is a lot of time invested in that and relationship invested. But we wanted to give you access to everything as long as you're a mentor. There are private groups as well for other mentors. For example, the four of you at the moment that are here, being able to be introduced to each other is a new thing. And we haven't really had that before, but I'm assuming there's a lot of advice that Michael probably has for Dan and vice versa. So getting access to other mentors who have done something, who know how to build a startup, you can grow your own startup much quicker through that. And we want to facilitate that. Being able to list yourself as a hyper mentor on LinkedIn. Pretty much anyone that you go and talk to commercially is going to be checking your LinkedIn. And if you've applied to any accelerator, StartMate, really anywhere else, they always ask for a LinkedIn link as opposed to anything else. Having the fact that you are a trusted mentor from us has a lot of weight in it. And so we wanted to give you that credibility because we've gone through this process and we trust you as well. We'll do a post announcing your startup if you want us to inside Apollo, so we can talk about like who you are, what the problems you are trying to face, what you're looking for, creating that exposure for you. We also want to do weekly interviews with founders in Apollo too. So if you're interested in that, we can then host an interview with you. You can talk about your startup, the problem you're trying to solve, what you need, same type of thing, and just try and, I guess, get the attention from everyone that we've got there. And keep in mind, for these events that we have most of the people in our network. So our investment network, partner network, other mentors, other founders, people in the industry, people that you could potentially partnership, all these types of things. So they could either participate or watch the videos. And again, if you want us to, we can then post that on our YouTube, our social media. We have around 30,000 followers across everything. Might actually be more than that, but a lot of that is exposure for you, for your startup. And that might even get you like 100, 200, 1,000 more followers on your Instagram or whatever it is as well, whatever you can try and demonstrate the value in the startup. And just finally, I want to personally help you out as much as I can. So if there's something that you particularly need or a relationship that you might need, or maybe connecting to someone that I know, just reach out to me and I'll try and help you out as much as I can. And on that, because there is a lot of work and time involved in like the time that I want to give you guys and the doing the interviews and everything else, I want to try and not have people mentors that aren't really giving it the due course that it actually needs. And so I've tried to put together a list of expectations. I don't think these are too crazy, but it essentially means that you're actively being a mentor and you're not just wanting the label and wanting the free access and wanting the advice from myself. And so these are things like just having the app installed. There's an iOS and Android. Android got released last week, I think. So you can download that. It's called Circle. There's instructions on Apollo. Try and log in about 3 times a week and check messages. It could take a couple of minutes. You can just see if someone basically DM'd you or has a question or something like that. Ideally, I think 1 to 3 founders that you're mentoring will be actively looking or responding to posts. I think that's pretty realistic. I don't think any more than that. I think any more than that is probably a lot of time, but I think the time commitment for a single mentor and everything I'm talking about here is like maybe 30 minutes a week or something like that, 30 minutes to an hour. It's not crazy. Being able to provide feedback to founders in under 72 hours, ideally 24, but just putting yourself in their shoes as well. Like if you had a question and you really needed the answer to it, waiting a week or longer is just, it sort of erodes the point of having a mentor. Having at least 1 voice or video call with the founders each month. This is not facilitated by us. This is something that you guys would just do with them. But it's just really trying to basically check in, see how they're going, see if they've got any questions, answer those, and just like give them confidence for the next month, really. The next one is just maintaining an engagement score of 50 on Apollo. Super easy to do. We do this internally with our team as well, but Apollo gives scores that I can see in analytics, and it's essentially 1 post that you make is worth 5 points. And I can write this out. 1 post is 5 points. Any comment that you make or receive is 2 points, and any like that you give or receive is worth 1 point. So if you do 1 post a week about something that you've learned or like about your startup, and then you have 10 people engaging and 10 people liking, you're already there and you're well beyond that. And I don't think that's too crazy of an expectation. And the last one is really just achieving an average score of 8 out of 10 on the feedback. So it will be sending the founders. And this is just to try and make sure, you know, if we have people that are obviously just dodging calls and not answering and doing things, like we stake our reputation on the people that are mentors because we do bridge that trust gap. And we just try and have to maintain some level of accountability of our reputation for that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So in terms of what's next, basically you guys confirming that you're happy to participate, you're happy to agree to the conditions, you don't need to sign anything, you just basically say, okay. I'm briefing sales at the moment, looking for mentors, same thing as I'm doing with you guys. And I'll be able to post a couple before the end of the week. I know Christmas is here as well, so I don't really have any expectations about you guys like spending Christmas talking to people. It's not about that. It's just about whenever you have some free time. And Christmas is just unfortunately very, very close. But when I do post those, just let me know if you're interested. I can do that intro, and then we can see how this works from there. And that's pretty much it. Otherwise, I'm open to